Tonight, multi-million-dollar rugby sponsors revealed. Family demands answers from health authorities. And bank reassures customers of internet banking security. Very good evening. The Fiji Rugby Union has finally confirmed the consortium that has signed them up for $40 million sponsorship over a 5-year period. Made up of 6 locally based companies, the deal is a clear indication of the value placed on the sport of rugby. William Tambuya has more on that deal.
Against the backdrop of legal action hanging over their heads, the Fiji Rugby Union today revealed its new sponsorship partners. Led by Vodafone, they also include Fiji Airways, CJ Patel, Home Finance, Telecom Fiji and Fijian Holdings Limited. Combined, their sponsorship makes up a sizable $8 million a year for up to 5 years. Of the $8 million, at least $3.7 million will be cash, with the remainder in kind and spread across the 6 sponsors.
Our delay, if anything, is not intentional. We are working to ensure that Fiji Rugby is not undersold.
Wangambada says after reviewing their 12 FRU products and 7 major tournaments, they came up with a major finding.
There has been no clear demarcation, separation and calculation between the sponsorship offer, which include naming rights, branding and image rights, corporate hospitality, social marketing and employee motivation programs.
He also cited television broadcast coverage as an example for FRU brand to leverage off, but failed to do so when considering major tournaments was broadcast to 149 countries across 38 TV channels by 21 broadcasters.
When you do the math and you calculate the sponsor dollar versus the brand visibility, let alone the naming rights to the team they receive, that is the 900 million viewers, the live spectators, one is led to question whether the FRU is really receiving what it is worth in terms of sponsorship. The local return on investment in sponsorship.
Wangambada says all the FRU wanted was a fair return on the investment.
But what we don't want is a quick fix with hidden commercial interests. We want true and meaningful value for all our products and all our sponsorship assets.
The 5-year deal will, however, be reviewed after the first 3 years. William Tambuya, Fiji One News.
And former sponsors Digicel Fiji's application for an interim injunction to stop the announcement of the new sponsorship signed by the FIU today was not granted by the Suva High Court. Digicel lawyer Mary Mui asked Judge Justice Kamal Kumar for the Fiji Sevens team to wear plain jerseys when the Wellington Sevens starts in New Zealand tomorrow until the matter is sorted in court. They also wanted to halt the sponsorship agreement between FIU and Vodafone. However, Justice Kumar did not grant an interim injunction as the contract has been signed. He has given time for both lawyers to file their submissions by Wednesday next week before he hears the case again on Thursday. This means that the Fiji Sevens team will run out in Wellington tomorrow with their new sponsor's name on their jerseys. A Nambua family is seeking answers from health authorities regarding the death of a family member. 18-year-old Lawrence Anthony died at the CWM hospital yesterday. However, reasons for his death is still unknown. Halita Start reports.
I'm not seeking justice. I just want to know what happened to my son.
This is the question Anand Lal Anthony is now putting forward to health authorities. His 18-year-old son Lawrence Anthony passed away at CWM hospital yesterday after being admitted on Monday. After going through some checkups on Monday, Anthony was put into the intensive care unit. On Tuesday night, the father claims he was informed by the doctors that his son was in a stable condition. However, his condition took a turn for the worse early on Wednesday morning.
But the sad part was it was 5:48 in the morning when they called and informed me that My son was normal. They called and informed me that my son was no more. I didn't have the courage to go to the hospital. I advised my brother and his sons to go down and check on him, and then they put him in the morgue.
During the course of treatment, Anthony was diagnosed by different doctors, all coming to different conclusions.
From a very qualified doctor, he told me that he had virus in his blood. I don't know what treatment they gave him. And then later they told me that his kidney and his liver is failing. That was from another doctor, sometimes later. The next morning, Tuesday morning, a very senior doctor came and told me that my son was having dengue, very high dengue. And that is the cause of his failure of lungs and, his liver and his kidney. Then another doctor came and told me that my son was bleeding, and bleeding heavily.
Anand Anthony says the Assemblies of God student was a healthy child. He is still awaiting his son's death certificate to proceed with final rituals.
To my conclusion, I think CWM Hospital, the doctors are negligent. They are not doing what they are supposed to do, or they are not qualified enough to know what sickness people have. I could not get my death certificate, my son's death certificate. I'm still waiting and hoping that they can give me a cause of his death.
Questions have been sent to the Health Ministry to seek their comments on this issue. Halitesh Dutt, Fiji One News.
And the Ministry of Health only said that they would respond through the Ministry of Information. Water problems continues to plague different parts of the country. Residences of Valley Lebu in Nasinu have been one of many areas dealing with intermittent water supply since the beginning of the year. The Water Authority of Fiji says this has been caused by operational works in the Suvarnosori corridor, focusing on Valley Lebu. It says this has led to disrupted water supply. Asked why there were no notices in the media to advise those living in affected areas, WAF argues that it informs residents before works get underway. WAF says its project currently underway covers the whole of the Suvarnosori system. It says that other areas could be experiencing disrupted supply as well, with work scheduled for the next 2 months. WAF says it's trying to reduce the time frame to improve supply to customers. Internet banking has fast become a convenient option for many today. However, increasing security concerns has prompted calls for commercial banks to relook at the safety of such banking systems. Absalom Rambo explains.
The Consumer Council of Fiji have been receiving complaints from members of the public lately, with instances of people losing large sums of money due to internet banking, and the consumer watchdogs have been equally raising their concerns with the banks.
And obviously the banks have been pointing their fingers all towards consumers, saying that the consumers are irresponsible. They have been parting with vital information. The computer they're using do not have the firewall and other softwares that are required to protect the computer. And in some cases they have even gone to the extent of saying that some of these consumers have basically given their numbers. Okay, I accept that.
But according to Kumar, a recent case of money laundering indicates that there was no negligence on the consumer side.
How did they penetrate through these levels of security? That is definitely a concern. And today, I'm just worried that how safe is our money in the bank? Is it safe?
Kumar says people keep their hard-earned money in the banks, relying on the security system.
And if money can be stolen through hacking the bank security system, it is definitely a concern. So I think here the responsibility lies both ways. Consumers need to protect their vital information, and the banks got to make sure that they have got a top-notch security system.
Phone internet hacking is where the risks are highest at the moment. Absalom Rambo, Fiji One News.
Meanwhile, a commercial bank that has operated here for more than 30 years has also spoken out about the internet banking system. The Bank of Baroda also weighed in on the security of internet banking.
Commercial banks continue to work on security systems to protecting it from hacking experts. Just a few days ago, 2 tertiary students appeared in court facing money laundering charges. One of the commercial banks says members of the public should be wary of phone messages from unknown senders, especially those that ask for personal passwords to provide fake online services.
So we all the time when somebody opens the screen or bank over the screen for internet banking, you're always giving a message and don't respond to any unauthenticated mail towards this, and don't click that mail, and if you click on that mail, that your password will be hacked.
According to Das, individuals should not have any problems with transferring funds to accounts with other banks.
But when there is a third party transfer, I am transferring fund to you, then your name should be registered, otherwise fund cannot be transferred. Your name and account number should be registered with our internet banking departments.
The Bank of Baroda is also taking precautions when it comes to registration for internet banking, taking basic steps like sending customers an initial password for registration.
When you put the password in one-time password, then your name will be registered. So if once your name is registered, so then I can transfer fund from my account to others' account. So if any unscrupulous persons want to hack and they want to transfer the fund to their account, it's very difficult in case of a bank or the concern.
Fiji One News approached ANZ, Westpac and BSP for comments, but none was forthcoming when this bulletin was prepared. Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
Still to come tonight, Lands Ministry systems undergo changes. And overhaul for Maris Brothers Primary School. Hello again. Leading this segment, a long-serving diplomat has passed away in Seoul, Korea. General Woo Chu-chang has been our honorary consul in Korea since 1991. Foreign Affairs Minister Ratu Inoki Kumbombola led a government delegation to pay respects to General Chang's family. He had previously served at the Fiji Visitors Bureau in Korea as well. General Chang had been awarded the National Independent Medal and the Companion of the Order of Fiji in 1995 and 2002. Ratu Inoki said General Chang had served the country well before our embassy was established there in 2012. General Chang is survived by his wife, 5 children and 7 grandchildren. He was 86 years old. The Ministry of Lands has restructured the organization. Work previously performed by the Lands section is now being taken over by the Valuation Department. A new unit has also been recreated to ease overall workloads.
A reform process has started at Ministry of Lands to increase efficiency. Most of the work carried out by the Land section in the past will now be shifted elsewhere.
So this year, through our restructure, we have unloaded some of their work and given to the division where the work should have been assigned in the first place.
Bosiwanga also explains that the Land section roles has now been moved to the Valuation Department.
In the past, the rental is, the rental value for a lease is done by valuation. Monitoring of payments, working on the arrears is done by Land section. This year, it's taken over by valuation.
Also, a special unit monitoring leased land has been set up. This will ensure those who have been given leases will maximize the resources they have acquired.
Another major initiative that we have done to address this problem is the establishment of a new unit. The new unit on subdivisions. The new unit on making sure that our leased lands are utilized well. Before, this is handled by this skeleton staff of lands.
The reform started at the beginning of January. Ndrobuke Langi, Fiji One News.
A decision on applications for new land leases will soon take only 3 weeks. This is compared to the previous process when it took up to 1 or even 2 years in some cases. The quick turnaround now should go a long way in seeing idle land put to productive use.
It is an achievement that has not come easy for the Ministry of Lands, especially when dealing with lease application. Some had been pending for more than 2 years. Now the turnaround time has been reduced to 21 days.
Because this process takes a lot of work that requires to be done, and that includes inspection of the site, that includes engaging with other stakeholders like Ministry of Justice through the Register of Titles and so on. And we needed to have conduct our due diligence, assessment of the applicants properly to ensure that we are fair in our allocation of leases.
Checks and balances will be put in place. Bosiwanga says this is to allow more transparency in the process involved.
So you will see the system now, it's very transparent. Nobody has the authority by himself or herself to give up the lease. So it's very transparent. And there are cases, maybe some special cases, we'll refer to the minister for his consideration.
But there are some positive news for the ministry. The number of complaints lodged against it has decreased quite significantly.
Now, early this year, the complaints that I've been receiving that comes across my table is, I have submitted my application 2 months ago, and to date, I still haven't received anything. So to me, that's a big improvement.
Nrubukelangi, Fiji One News.
The National Women's Expo and Rural Designers Awards night for this year has received a boost. Insurance firm LICI officially handed over a $15,000 check, becoming the first sponsor for the event. The event is scheduled for August and will see over 3,000 women taking part from around the country as well as the region.
To expose them to what women empowerment is all about, and how the women in Fiji have empowered themselves economically, also with education and skills, just to expose them to this women's event, and that we believe is education in itself.
Dr. Lubeni said skills learned in the expo will also be a way of reducing poverty in families.
It really is not for business. It really is to help them alleviate poverty living within their own household.
One of the country's oldest educational institutions is preparing itself for a major overhaul. Established in 1888, Marist Brothers Primary School will tomorrow host the arrival of its regional head brother, Alan Sherry. He is also head of the Marist Asia Pacific Solidarity, or MAPS, a leading non-profit development agency. With restrictions now on how schools can fundraise, tomorrow's visit could also be the start of a new funding model from MAPS, using its local as well as regional and global networks. 4 separate alumni bodies, including the Marist Primary Management Council and the Marist Old Boys Fiji, Australia and New Zealand Alliance, will sign an agreement tomorrow to herald the start of a new funding model for the school.
We'll be signing this MOU, and the meaning of this MOU is for the funding of the sprucing up of the repairing, really, the repairing of the Marist Brothers Primary School. That's basically what that MOU will be about. And Brother Alan is the main figure in this.
And this is just to hand. The Ministry of Health has responded to an earlier story on the death of Lawrence Anthony. In a statement it says Anthony was in a critical condition when he was brought to the CWMH hospital on Monday. According to the post-mortem results, Anthony succumbed to internal hemorrhage, in particular to the lung and the heart. Stay with us, we have regional news up next. A medium-sized earthquake occurred in Tonga early this morning. The Mineral Resources Department said it was a shallow depth quake measuring 5.6 on the Richter scale. It adds that it posed no threat to Tonga. Meanwhile, an earthquake happened in Vanuatu this morning as well, measuring 5.5 on the Richter scale. It occurred close to the Vanuatu Trench. Remind you again, you can view tonight's Fiji One News Bulletin on our website at www.fijione.tv. You can also watch previous news bulletins as well as our current affairs, business and sports shows. You can also get news headlines directly to your mobile phones. To subscribe, just text SUB space FTV News to 777. You can get your news and sports headlines via SMS. Charges will apply and you can view our terms and conditions on our website. The new owners of Outrigger on the Lagoon and Castaway Island resorts have sought the blessings of landowners in the Mamanuthas. In an emotional event usually reserved for chiefs, the Tuilawa Ratu Sevanaya Lalambalavu welcomed new owner, 80-year-old Dr. Richard Kelly. They also bade farewell to former owner Jeffrey Shaw, who has shared ties with landowners for over 2 decades.
Dr. Kelly, his son Charles, and Outrigger Enterprises executives were part of an entourage from Hawaii that last week announced a takeover of the popular Mamanutha property. This morning, acknowledging Fijian protocol, the new owners set for Solibu village to seek the blessings of the Vanua of Lawa as they take over from Jeffrey Shaw's reigns, one that spans 4 decades of service to the tourism industry.
To make us feel part of your family as you do today is very, very meaningful. And I want to say also that we want you to be members of our family.
The family-run Outrigger Enterprises, which owns 43 properties in the Asia-Pacific region, employing well over 4,000 workers, gave the assurance that the handover from one family to another will only serve as a stronger bond in keeping family values well intact in their business approach.
But people from around the world want to come to Fiji and Hawaii and to see your culture. And it is our responsibility to help people to understand you, to help share the culture. And it's a wonderful thing because you have so much to show the world and they want to see it. So we're looking forward at our resort to helping you show the world what wonderful people you are.
This first bittersweet meeting between 2 major stakeholders was one that signaled the end of an era of one who has been dubbed to have served the people well in his time as owner of one of the world's renowned brand in the tourist world today.
It's a bittersweet day. We have fond memories of Mr. Jeff Shaw, who had been running the resort Castaway Island for more than 20 years now. He had had a good relationship with the chiefly clan of our island.
The Vanua of Lawa hope the relationship ignited today will continue to prosper as they look to the future with optimism.
Hopefully, in the long run, we hope we will be working together. We will be seeing eye to eye with each other.
Meanwhile, Mr. Jeffrey Shaw will remain as consultant of the company to complete the transition period and work on developing the resort with new upcoming markets in the horizon. Mandiang Balitamana, Fiji One News.
The opening of a new Fiji National Provident Fund branch in Lautoka is expected to boost service delivery in the Western Division. Prime Minister Commodore Porenge Bainimarama said the reforms that were carried out have been done for the benefit of members.
Bainimarama told close to 100 people that converged at a new FNPF office in the Sugar City this afternoon that it is government and the FNPF's aspirations to build on the sacred trust of all Fijians in keeping the money secured for the benefit of every citizen in Fiji.
To deliver the peace of mind and contentment that we all want our retirees, both current and future, to have in their advancing years. My government has done everything possible to meet that obligation. Excuse me. But unfortunately, some of the governments that came before us were not so diligent.
He said, thanks to the foresight of those that set up the superannuation fund some 48 years ago with a modest $30,000, the FNPF has grown into a fund of $4.2 billion.
This amount has been built on the hard work of successive members. It represents their life savings and their hopes for financial security when they retire. It is therefore the sacred trust of every Fijian government and every board, every management and staff members of the FNPF to make sure that those hopes are realized.
He said the opening of the office is also indicative of the FNPF's plans of effectively serving those that it was initially set up to do so.
So I am delighted that we are now on a better footing, and I want to thank the current FNPF board under the chairmanship of Mr. Ajith Kodakoda for its role in achieving that objective. With their commitment, their vision and hard work, we are already reaping the rewards of our reform program.
Bainimarama also put to rest issues that have been brought to the fore in the way money has been spent by the FNPF by investing in a number of major projects around the country.
All these reforms my government has done over the past 7 years. We have arrested the years of neglect, taken the hard but necessary decisions to change the way we do things, and we have put our nation's financial position on a better and more sustainable footing.
Bulletin, Fiji One News.
Troy's next to sports now, and Fiji's Sevens team all eager to run out in Wellington.
Indeed they are, Vili, and we've got one more extensive coverage coming up before the tournament kicks off tomorrow. That's all coming up. Also in sport, lanky debutant confident of good show in Wellington. And Tongan fighter lives dream in brand new boxing gymnasium.